Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Yes, happy Tuesday. So, alright, here we go with lesson 5, part 4. I'm very glad that you guys are enjoying this, and I'm actually putting the lesson numbers in. What is wrong with my nose ring? There we go. At the top of the description. So, alright, here we go. So, part 4, very interesting. Alright, those of you who have read this far will have learned by now that magic is work and study. Yes. After the next lesson, we will be moving on to the realm of gray magic. By studying the material, you have earned this right. So, you have become versed in elementary occult philosophy and the Kabbalah, as well as many other related topics. So, now, because you have reached this point, I want to give you something special. As I said before, I cannot initiate you, and as I have described, although initiation is not necessary, it's not, it can speed your progress. It can literally just speed the progress up. So even though I cannot initiate you... Oh, I already read that. Okay, aid in your development, yes, okay. It is a self-dedication, wherein you dedicate yourself to the great work. Alright, now the great work is explained in more detail, in better detail, in The Ritual and Doctrine of High Magic by Eliphas Levi. So, I would just very highly recommend reading that book. It's incredible. I mean, it is incredible. So, alright, attaining the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel, also known as the cosmic consciousness, enlightenment, and unity with divinity. So it's pretty cool, especially on the full moon, the day after the full moon, so we still have that full moon energy going. Alright, and the bringing of spiritual light to a dark world. So, it's just amazing. I love this. I love this. And for you guys that have emailed me about my readings yesterday, and about, you know, how they were accurate, and how much you appreciated them, I did get your emails. Wake up to about 300 emails per day with those kinds of messages, so don't think I'm not, acknowledging you. I am very, very, very grateful when I see that. It's the best thing, and it just fills me with so much love. So don't think that I am not, don't think I'm ignoring, because it's really hard to go through all those emails per day. So, but I will get back to everybody, I promise, if it takes me until the day I die. Alright, so if you choose to do this, you must have an altar as described in an earlier lesson. If it sits in the middle of your magical circle at the conjunction of the 4 elements, which come from the 4 quarters, it also represents the physical universe, and thus symbolizes the idea that the universe of the magical circle is far larger than the material plane. Yeah, basically, yes, it is. If you contemplate the altar, you will surely come up with many more things the altar can represent. For me, it's a doorway to everything. Everything. It's like water on a brick. Over time, it changes it. So you have a point of spiritual energy that is very, very high. So on the top of the altar should be 2 items. These are a red triangle and a white cross. They can be made out of construction paper or felt. So the cross represents our vow to follow the great work, our cross to bear. So the triangle, which should be made out, so that it looks like 3 bars, rather than one piece with a solid middle, represents all forms of trinities. So, every form of trinity. So it doesn't matter what tradition you are in. Here we go. This includes Isis, Apophis, Osiris, Theo, Yin Yang, Keter, Hachman, Binah, and especially light, life, and love. So as you face east from behind the altar, these 2 symbols should rest on the altar with the cross further east than the triangle. So here's the cross and what the triangle should look like. Very simple. Very simple. So this is just a self-dedication. I didn't know it was so early on in this book. So, alright, so be sure to read the dedication vow and make sure that you want keep all of the provisions before actually doing this ritual. Within the circle, you should also have a small cup of water and some burning incense, so they should not be on the altar, but to the sides. The incense should be to the south and the water should be to the north. Be sure that the censer is on a fireproof surface. Alright, so we have the rite of self-dedication. Here we go. Alright, so step 1, you're going to do the relaxation ritual. Step 2, you're going to do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Step 3, you're going to do the lesser banishing the banishing ritual of the hexagram. Shit, I have to get that down. Alright, so step 4, if it suits your will, you will do the rose cross ritual. I love the rose cross ritual. I really do. But you have to do the middle pillar, I think, with it. Or the BRH, which is I'm still totally confused about. But it will become easier. Alright, now step 5. Pick up the water cup in the left hand and dip the fingers of the right hand in the water. Sprinkle a few drops from your fingers on the left and then ahead, then to the right. Re-dip the right index finger and make a cross on your forehead while saying, I consecrate myself with water. And then you replace the cup. Alright, step 6. Pick up the incense and wave it to the left, center, and to the right. Hold it so that you can smell its fumes while saying, I purify myself with fire. And then put down your incense, replace it. Step 7. You're going to hold both hands above shoulder level, palms forward, and bow your head and say, Holy art thou, Lord of the universe. Holy art thou, whom nature hath not formed. Holy art thou, the vast and mighty one, Lord of the light and of the darkness. Step 8. Now kneel before the altar, place your right hand on top of both the triangle and the cross. Hold your left hand up in the air, and you're going to say the following meaningfully and with conviction. So, here's your dedication. So, I state your magical motto or your full name. In this presence of the Lord of the universe who works in silence and naught, but silence can express, do hereby dedicate myself to the accomplishment of the great work by taking the following vow. I, of my own free will and accord, do hereby and hereon most solemnly pledge to keep secret all of my occult knowledge from any and all whom I deem unworthy due to their evil intents or lying ways. I undertake to prosecute with zeal the study of occult sciences for the betterment of myself and the betterment of all humanity. I will not suffer myself to be placed in such a passive state that any person, power, or being might cause me to lose control of my thoughts, words, or actions. I will not use my occult powers for any evil purposes. I agree to these points generally and severely upon this sacred and sublime symbol, without evasion, equivocation, or mental reservation of any kind whatsoever. I realize that I should willfully break this, or I realize that should I willfully break this, my magical oath, that I shall be known as a perjuring wretch, void of all moral worth and unfit for the society of all right and true persons. Furthermore, should I break this, my magical oath, may my weapons turn against me or turn to dust, and may all of my magic and rituals be for naught. So help me the Lord of the universe and my own higher soul. That's intense. That's pretty intense right there. Step 9. Do the middle pillar ritual and the circulation of the body of light. When you finish, visualize yourself surrounded by brilliant white light and bask in its glow, spiritual glow. Step 10. Finish with the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Alright, so it's pretty intense. So you have to be sure that you are ready. Alright, as you can see, the penalties for breaking this magical oath are quite severe. Ooh. You may not wish to take this oath, or you may wish to wait to take it. But if you take it now, the powers that be will take note of your vow and your dedicated work over the past few months. So they will smile upon your efforts and dedication. The result will be faster progress in all of your magical and spiritual work. Alright, so that is the self-dedication. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, alright, part 5. A little bit about past lives. So, a topic to which deeply concerns many occultists is the magical memory. So, to Crowley, the magical memory was an important part of occultism, and like many aspects of occultism under another name, it has become a popular topic with the general public. Thus, it becomes hard today to discover anyone who is not familiar with some theory of reincarnation and past lives. Sooner or later, you will have a past life experience as a result of your occult work. So, it may be in the form of a vision during meditation, or perhaps in the midst of a group ritual. That appearances of the hall wherein you are working, the clothes, and even the faces of the people with whom you are working will alter. You will have the impression that you are in another location and working with other people. So, these are all signs of a returning magical memory. So, before discussing the Kabbalistic theory of reincarnation, I want to make clear the importance of past life experiences. To be quite frank, I am not convinced that reincarnation is a reality. The scientific evidence for it is too scant and at times silly to take the whole thing seriously. So I've met several dozen people who have told me that they were Jesus' disciples in a past life. I do not know where they were hiding in the New Testament accounts wherein only 12 were mentioned. One lady told me in all seriousness that she and I had studied Kabbalah together at Jesus' foot. Wow, I found that very interesting, as I had done some past life regressions to that time and further back, and according to my experience had never even been to the Middle East. So yeah, it's interesting. I even knew 2 ladies who were lovers, one of whom thought she was the incarnation of Jesus, the other of whom thought she had been Judas. This certainly tells more of a story of their present-day psyches than their past lives, obviously. In fact, their present-day relationship resulted in them almost destroying each other mentally and spiritually. Well, yeah. I also know of several people who claim to be the current incarnation of Aleister Crowley. Oh my god, there are so many people that think they are, and they're not. So, I have a letter from one of those self-avowed incarnations, which shows the total lack of knowledge of Crowley's philosophy, and even smaller knowledge of the English language. Even if you think a little of Crowley, his mastery of English is beyond question. He was a genius. On the other hand, I have a friend who insists that all of the many people claiming to be Crowley actually may be Crowley. He says that these people must be at least 33 people. Oh, I thought it was 33. I was like, oh, well, making the claim to be Crowley. And they each have about 1 1/33 of Crowley's intelligence, talent, skill, and wit. Diane Fortune, in her book, Sane Occultism, which should be required reading for all occultists, says, to claim greatness in the past does not so much cast reflected glory on a mediocre present life as suspicion on the intervening lives. Very interesting. Very. Alright, so past life experiences are one of 3 things. So, 1, they may be real experiences or of actual past lives. 2, they may be fantasies to glamorize a currently bland lifetime. 3, they may be messages which your subconscious needs to give to your conscious, but your conscious refuses to hear. Thus, the subconscious presents it in a way that can be accepted by the conscious as a symbolic past life. So the truth is that it does not matter which is the cause of a past life experience. What matters is what you get out of it now, in your current lifetime. If you reread the section on the soul or personality in an earlier lesson, you will see that the memory is mortal. It ends with the body at the change known as death. So, thus, if we do not have a past life experience, not only does it tend to be short and incomplete, but it is also must be important enough to have made an impression on one of the immortal aspects of our being, and whether it is an important message from our subconscious or an ego-building fantasy. The message of a past life experience is the same. What can I get from it now? I have one past life experience on the Titanic. It's very short. I have really nothing to go on with it. All I know is I was in that clothing as a peasant on the boat, sweeping it or mopping it, whatever. And that's that. That's the only actual past life experience that I would say would be true for me. Now I am rethinking like all of my past lives that I've ever done. But definitely the one with the Titanic. That's the one that's just, insane. So frequently the answer to this question deals with allowing us to learn some way of a better living in the present. So sometimes they give cathartic experiences which can free us from phobias and neuroses which no longer valuable to our mind, our mental well-being. So sometimes they tell us more about our inner makeup and desires. So past life experiences are, always have been, and ever must be, very personal in nature. So yeah, mine is pretty personal. Short, very personal, quite a message from it. So, to be of any value at all, we must personally experience them sooner or later as a result of doing the great work. Experience them you will. So, once experienced, they can make drastic, positive changes in your life. So, they can also improve your magical talents by freeing you from problems which might be holding you back. I can't think of anything with the Titanic right now. Unfortunately, whenever there is something of true value, it seems that there is also either a cold-blooded opportunist trying to make a fast buck or a self-deluded believer who must help everyone and make a few bucks in the process. These people can be found at psychic fairs and giving classes or lectures, the main part of which people consists in telling you of your past lives. If you accept these people as entertainers, you will get your money's worth. So they may actually be tapping into and informing you of real past lives, if they exist. But for your magical purposes, they are useless. So as I said, you must experience your past lives, not just hear about them, from them, for them to be of any value to you whatsoever. Luckily, there are now teachers who are helping people to relive their past lives, and your participation in such a class is encouraged. So there are also many fine books on the market which tell you how to experience past lives. As I already mentioned, the magical work you are doing will probably result, at one time or another, in a past life experience. So, however, our real interest here is the Kabbalistic theory of reincarnation. So the Kabbalah, remember, is not a static, unchanging theory, but an evolving metaphysical philosophy. The Kabbalah has several theories of reincarnation, which have evolved over time. None, however, are as simplistic as W. Westcott, a founder of the Golden Dawn, expressed when he said that according to the Kabbalah, people are limited to 3 incarnations. That would make more sense, honestly. So this has been copied by some authors who were members of the Golden Dawn, and by other writers who don't give their sources credit. So before going on, I must add that in another work, Westcott does talk about a more advanced Kabbalistic theory of reincarnation. This is the Lurianic theory of metempsychosis, the Kabbalistic theory of incarnating as a higher or lower life form. Okay, that's interesting too. So there are 2 prime Kabbalistic theories of reincarnation. So the first relates to the 4 worlds. This theory sees 4 levels relating to the worlds, each of which has a series of lessons to be learned. If you do not learn them in one lifetime, you must reincarnate until you do. That's what I honestly believe. Once you have learned all of the lessons in the lowest level, becoming as spiritual as possible in the lowest world, which would be the earth, in your next incarnation, you will find yourself as the most unspiritual, at the most unspiritual place of the next of the 4 worlds. So as you may have guessed, the lessons and experiences are associated with the Tree of Life. So, and thus have 10 basic areas of concern. Although, there may be many more subcategories, it can be seen that according to the system there can be innumerable incarnations. So who really knows, honestly? So according to the system, the goal is to traverse all 4 worlds and perfect yourself so that you can reunite with the divine. That is my ultimate goal. However, it is claimed that most people only get to the Tiferet level of Bria. At this point, a person has evolved to such a high state that further incarnations are no longer necessary for evolvement. I want to get to that state. The second basic theory is above mentioned, one of the Isaac Luria. Luria was a famous Kabbalist who never wrote anything, but whose students' writing make him the father of modern Jewish Kabbalism. His system has 2 basic features, which would be today called metempsychosis and karma. So metempsychosis, or the transmigration of souls, is the idea that we can incarnate as a lower life form in our current life. It is not in tune with the workings of the universe. So basically we can't incarnate as like a dog, or a tree, or a butterfly, or a plant. So, alright. But the Lurianic theory goes much further than other theories of this type. So in this system, you are not punished for evil by becoming a cow. Oh, Jesus, God, Rather, your next incarnation is dependent upon what you need to learn. Thus, if you need to learn stealth, you might incarnate in your next life as a thief, or as that thieving bird, the magpie. Oh. As you can see, the reason for incarnating into a lower life form is very logical. Okay, it does kind of make sense. The Lurianic system not only features this high level of logic, it also features greater depth. So if you need to learn patience, for example, you may incarnate as a rock. Ooh. If you need to learn flexibility, you may come back as a reed by a river. The ideas which come out of this are fascinating. The implication is that plants, rocks, animals are alive and have souls. Okay, so that's obvious and very evident in traditional witchcraft as well. So this also implies that all planets and asteroids are teeming with some form of life. In fact, it means that entire universe is wonderfully alive, and that we are but a small part of it. Oh my God, that would be amazing to wake up one day and just be on Venus, literally. According to this system, we stay in a lower form until we have learned the necessary lessons and we have been of some use to a higher life form. Thus, in this example given above, you could stay a rock until you learn patience, until you had become useful, perhaps by providing shade to a snake or an insect, or serving as a stool for a human hiker. I don't want anybody sitting on me. It is impossible that you stay as a stone could last a relatively short time, where it could last for thousands of years. Oh geez, no. Likewise, if you might stay a reed until you learn flexibility and become the food of an animal, or perhaps part of a boat. Ooh, the boat. Oh no, the Titanic. Yeah, as a side note, Diane Fortune urges non-vegetarianism. Ooh, no thank you. For Western occultists, because giving up animal products in the diet may cause a psychic opening too quickly and bring about psychic or physical damage. Those who believe in the Lurianic theory of metempsychosis would argue that you should eat meat, as it will help those who have incarnated as animals move up the evolutionary scale. No, that's like a dictatorship right there. That's there's no room for whatever authority in occultism. No, I'm not going to start eating meat. Ugh. So, yuck. So actually, you should do what's right for you. If you force yourself to do otherwise, you will be uncomfortable and unhappy, which is a handicap for psychic development. If you don't want to eat meat, don't. If you do. Personally, I choose not to eat meat, fish, or fowl. However, if necessity arises, I would eat any of those items without guilt. Maybe if, I don't know, that was like the last choice to stay alive. So, alright, anyways. The Lurianic system also features a notion of karma. In Hebrew, it is called tikkun. In the English and other Romance languages, words tend to have a specific meaning. In Sanskrit, this is not so. In fact, some of the earliest works in Sanskrit, the Tantras, frequently use what is called the Twilight language, and are filled with hidden meanings that required a key to understand the Twilight language code. Hebrew and other Semitic languages are similar in frequently having broad or imprecise meanings for words. Thus, although tikkun means correct, it implies the restoring of the soul to its true identity. Therefore, the reason we reincarnate in other life forms is to correct errors we have made in previous lives. That's interesting. Very. So the reason we experience bad in our lives for no apparent reason is for the working out of this tikkun process. So there's a passage in the Bible which says that God punishes a person for his sins unto the third generation. I think that's ridiculous. No God that is all-knowing and all-loving and knows no evil would not punish. It's bullshit. It makes no sense. It's a big contradiction. If you do not believe in reincarnation, this implies an incredibly vicious and vindictive deity. See? If, on the other hand, you believe that this is the type of Twilight language and really means that you may have to spend up to 3 incarnations to learn correct past behavior, it becomes a reasonable and logical statement. This may be the source of Westcott's 3 incarnations error. So yes, it's a vindictive, very vindictive, evil God. Let us assume that you have gone through many, many lifetimes and have achieved as much spiritual perfection as if possible. So, for a person to achieve, you have been corrected. What then is the result? To answer this question, we must first answer the question of where souls come from. So, simply, the Divine created all of the souls before the first incarnation, thus unrecognized. We are all imperfect parts of the Divine Source of all. Many have not incarnated as yet, so it is possible that some may never do so. So, these proto-human souls are referred to as sparks in Kabbalistic literature. So, these sparks are androgynous. What's Baphomet? An androgynous figure. I feel very, very blurry. So yes, Baphomet is an androgynous figure, something that you can't really tell. Is that a man or a woman? Exactly, androgynous. So, alright, where did I go? Alright, when the soul is ready to incarnate, it is split into 2. So each half will go to a member of a different sex. Each soul half watches over the forming fetus, but does not join with it until the first breath is taken. So also know that according to the system, you do not start as a lower life form and work your way up. Rather, you start as a human and can work yourself up or down. That makes more sense. So once you have achieved as spiritual a state as possible in each lifetime, the next step in the tikkun process is for you to find the other half of your soul. I think I have. I really think I have. in female form. And you know who you are. The other half will also have gone through a series of experiences and will be willing to join with you. It may be that one of you achieves the state of being ready to reunify sooner than the other, and will have to wait several lifetimes for the arrival of the missing half. When the time is right, you will be united with your soulmate. So this is the Kabbalistic understanding of the term. In the interim, you should love, marry, and have children. When the time is right, your soulmate will appear. And please do not shallow the "hey baby, don't you know I'm your soulmate" line. Anyone who says it isn't. Alright, so that makes perfect sense. But then again, I believe soulmates don't specifically refer to, getting married, because I couldn't marry my soulmate, my other half. It could, but it wouldn't go anywhere, obviously, for obvious reasons. So, okay, once you meet and unite with your soulmate, your divided soul will also unify during the time you spend together. This uniting is especially important during sex. However, that is a topic to be discussed later in these lessons. Once your soul is back in one piece, as a result of the tikkun process, you are fit to reunite with your creator. Alright, so, okay, maybe that's not time yet. I don't want to die yet, do you? I don't know about you guys. Okay, so, quote, "Who works in silence, and naught but silence can express. Golden Dawn and Neophyte Initiation Ritual." It's pretty interesting. It's very interesting, actually. So, alright guys, tomorrow I think we will go into part 6. So, it gives a lot more on just the pentagrams, the banishing ones, the spirit banishing pentagrams, invoking earth, air, fire, water. So, alright, we have gone over today we've gone over a lot of information. So part 4 through part 4 and 5. So tomorrow we will do part 6. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Past lives have always fascinated me. My computer is eating this. What is this? Niles Screen Park. Ooh, escape rooms. I never knew they had these back in 2018. Huh. So yes, tomorrow we will go over part 6. So, this is just amazing. This book is incredible. It really is. Really, really, really focus on your magic and what you're doing, and just be humble about it. Don't boast. My candle has totally just, last night it was about that close to going out, and now it's like this big. So, the full moon working. It's great. So, alright guys, I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys enjoy, and I love you all very much. So, thank you guys for watching. All my love, all the way from Venus, all the way back down. And yes, we'll see you all tomorrow. So, thank you guys for watching. I love you all very much. And I'm reading through the comments, and I love it. You guys are amazing. So, thank you. Alright guys, I love you. And everybody have a good day and stay safe.